Steelers had a tough 31-17 loss to the Seattle Seahawks to kick off week 2. And there's a lot to unpack, so let's get into it. But today it's just me, Amere, holding it down today. So Carter will be back here with me later this week. But now we're going to break down what went wrong, what went right, and what it means moving forward. So let's get right into it. So I have a little short list here of what went right, as I didn't see too much that went right in that game. I feel like the game was it was a rough one, and it was a really, really rough game to watch, to have to sit through. A lot of mistakes, both sides of the ball. It was very disheartening to see. A lot needs to be changed if this team wants to be seen as a contender, which right now it's looking like another 9-8 or 8-9 season. But going first, Jaylen Warren in the run game looked pretty good at times. Jaylen Warren is definitely running back number one. No ifs, ands, or buts. He had himself a nice game there. So that was really nice to see. Run blocking was also pretty good, which we didn't see too much of before, but allowing Jaylen Warren to get loose, run, is a really good thing that team needs. The Steelers need to open up that run game. And not just for, whatever, but I feel like if they open up that run game, it's going to open up the pass game. If we can do that, look, we have a little balanced offense here. But going into the stats here, Aaron Rodgers finished with 203 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Nothing too impressive. Jaylen Warren had 48 rushing yards on 14 carries and 86 receiving yards. So it was nice to see Warren get involved in the pass game there, which is huge. And so going next to what also went right, Corliss Waitman had a pretty good game. He's been killing it all season. Probably a reason why they cut Cam Johnston, but he's now a Buffalo Bill. So I think that's a little bit of what went right for the game. I mean, defensive side of the ball, I didn't see too much that happened. I mean, the Steelers' defense got takeaways, but they couldn't capitalize. They could not capitalize. I believe both teams got 7 points off turnovers, and that's just unacceptable. For a team that preaches on defense, they should not be giving up 31 points 2 games in a row. I believe over the last 6 games, they have allowed over 30 points. So that's just unacceptable for the highest paid defense. And getting into what went wrong here, there's a lot, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Defense is still sus, if you ask me. But to be fair, I won't use this as an excuse, but there was a significant amount of starters that were already out prior to the game and who got hurt during the game. So definitely some, injuries going on. But the defense is still sus, especially in the middle of the field. The middle of the field was the key for the Seahawks. It was like a big old easy button for them. I mean, Sam Darnold went 8 for 9 with a touchdown and 86 yards within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage, which I think is completely unacceptable, if you ask me. I mean, Darnold was near perfect when targeting the middle of the field. He went 13 for 14 for 169 yards. Now, that right there, that's been an issue for some time. Teams have been targeting the middle of the field of Terrell Austin's defense, and it hasn't changed, and it's very, very frustrating to watch. The Steelers linebackers shouldn't be in coverage all the time. I feel like very few linebackers are actually able to cover well in the NFL. And the Steelers, I don't think they have, the linebackers who can cover effectively. But I do want to point out that I would say stopping the run was a little bit better this week. Still a little shaky, but I liked what I saw from the inside linebackers, especially with the run stop. Peyton Wilson had himself on a decent game, got himself a sack. But that middle of the field it's going to kill us. It's going to kill the Steelers over the course of the year. Teams, they know that they're going to run that zone defense. They know that. It's predictable. This team is very predictable. And Carter and I we probably sound like a broken record when we say this every week, but the team is super predictable. I guarantee I can predict every offensive play, every defensive play. It's getting to a point where something's got to change, schematically or coaching-wise. And I personally think that the coaching staff isn't really – they're not too high on my list at the current moment. But, long season, to get things right. So, yeah. But heading next to the next, what went wrong was the Caleb Johnson blunder. I think it's time to end the Caleb Johnson on special teams experiment. 2 weeks in a row, 2 bonehead plays, and it's just, that can't happen. When you're a player, you cannot let a live ball go past you. That is one thing you cannot do, and the fact that he did that, I think he should have been benched, which I believe he was. Warren was taking kick returns right after. So I really feel like coaching needs to do a little bit better of a job. Kick return coverage has been pretty bad this season, if you ask me. The Jets were getting some great gains on the ground there on kick returns. Same thing with the Seahawks. I mean, I feel like this team just isn't as prepared as people think they are. I feel like this has been a common theme with Tomlin teams, is that the team isn't prepared. That's just what it looks like from the viewer. The team looks like they're just out of it. And on that defensive side of the ball, I saw this a little bit earlier, per Gary Dulac, but Pittsburgh has never allowed 31 points in their first 2 games in the Mike Tomlin era. I believe that's saying something. I personally don't think that this defense is as good as we're thinking it is, but on paper it might seem like that, but in reality, it's a little shaky. But I'm really hoping that this game against the Patriots is the get it right game, because there's a lot that needs to be righted. There's a lot that needs to happen if this team wants to get above 500, which it's probably Tomlin's goal at the end of the day. But it's getting to a point where it's getting old. Seeing the same things week in, week out with little to no changes. But what I did see from the offense was a bit encouraging in a way, especially on that offensive line. But I don't know. It's looking rough. But there's also a few other things that should be talked about. Alex Highsmith did go down with an injury, and he's looking like he's going to be out for a little bit of time. So we may be seeing a little bit more of Nick Herbig and Jack Sawyer, which I wouldn't mind. I think that would be a pretty interesting duo to see come off the edge. So I think Nick Herbig and Jack Sawyer are gearing up for a nice stretch here. Hopefully let the young guys eat here. But Nick Herbig also did get a pick in that game, which was awesome. First career pick, and I feel like the defense has kind of lacked that this season. I feel like they've lacked splash plays, which you usually see from a Steelers defense. But another kind of interesting thing is the Steelers did, I believe the Steelers won the so the turnover battle was 2-2. Both teams had 2 turnovers. So I would like to see the Steelers, kind of win those battles, don't turn the ball over, get more turnovers and take advantage of it. Because I feel like if Caleb Johnson didn't let that ball roll by him, I think it would have been a completely different ball game. So it's a little bit interesting seeing the what ifs and, what could have happened, but unfortunately it does not work that way. But going into kind of, what this may mean for the rest of the season, not rest of the season, but going forward, I think that this team has a lot to unpack, especially in the film. I've watched a few of the highlights today, and a lot of the stuff I've seen was not too promising. But, I mean, especially on the offensive side of the ball, DK, he opened up the game with 2 bad drops. But he looks like a good improvement over Pickens, but I think a little bit more needs to be done from that offense. I mean, Roman Wilson was virtually non-existent, and the Steelers used Darnell Washington on a 2-point conversion when I feel like he should be used a lot in that goal line formation. But there's a reason why I'm behind the mic and not on that field coaching. But I'm just going to say, just to kind of end off the episode here, that the Steelers aren't dead. The Steelers, they have every chance to right the season. They have every chance to turn the ship around. But I feel like the problems that we're seeing are stemming from the coaching staff. But hopefully things can change up here this week and hopefully walk up into New England and take the win. So that will be it for the What is Steelers podcast today, and we will be back Thursday.